First on the list for ME subsystems is this, which is my crop system. It can grow either trees, crops, pretty much anything you can plant in the ground. Now, the way this is actually set up is fairly cool, fairly easy. You can do it on pretty much any server. They allow a lot of these items. So I will get started here and break it down for you. First we have down here is the planter. It's whatever you're going to plant. Like here I have wheat, I think. Let's see. Yeah, that's wheat. And it'd be wheat, potato, carrots, and string, whatever the string plant is. And then right here we have the harvester. And over here we have the fertilizer. Now the way this system works is because my ME room is right across the hall there, that big old massive crafting thing right there. I actually ran my power and my ME through the ground. So that allows me to be able to do a lot of this stuff. You might want to set up these subsystems nearby. Each little section of ME cable will increase how much power your ME needs. So in the long run, it's a little more efficient to have it close by. Like with these rubber trees, what will happen is they need to at least, I think it's 10 tiles high is the biggest rubber tree I've ever seen. But I usually, like this floor here, I think I set up as 12. And they can't have any walls like directly against them. Like this rubber tree will never grow if you have a wall right here. It will just sit there and laugh at you. So I usually try to keep them in the clear and in the open. So that spot there is for trees. This spot here is for trees. I'm going to try to set this one up for trees. I don't know if that wall's too close. I know for pine trees, I forgot what they're really called. Spruce. For spruce trees, they need a fair lot of elbow room. So I might only be able to put one dirt tile in the center if I want to grow spruce here. Well, we'll find out. Anyway, back to the topic at hand are these lovely little machine blocks. Now, the way they normally are set up is you can either hand feed them or use pipes, but when hooked up to an ME they become extremely efficient. You have to remember, let me pull one out, that you're using an export bus, and what it'll do is it'll pull items from the ME and put it in to these devices. The only problem with these devices that you have to work around is these harvesters do not recognize ME buses at all. They will, when they harvest something, here I'll just show you. When they harvest something and there's no ME bus or anything hooked up to it, what will end up happening is they just spit it on the ground. You see how it's just firing it out the butt there? Wow, that really lags too. So what the workaround for that I found is to drop an item test rack, and then I have that item test rack hooked into my ME system elsewhere. Let me just set this real quick. Okay, so that's my workaround for this. There's going to be other problems we'll encounter later with other parts and other machines that I will have to use item test racks as well for. There's an alternative, which you can take a chest, which I don't have on me, put the chest there, and then have an ME import bus, which is the exact opposite of this. Instead of having like a little diamond-shaped head, it's a flat, like suction cup head, and pull that into your system. That's another alternative you could do. But actually, I prefer the item test racks. It keeps things looking a lot cleaner. Because if I actually had to put chests here, I would have chests, and then I would have the ME import bus right there, and the ME cable running down, which kind of adds a little bit more clutter. I like to try to keep things as clean as possible. And also, that's why I'm running all my cables underground. So, you might be asking yourself, well, the planter is going to be eating seeds. Like, anytime there's, let's put some dirt right on top of the planter. Just as an example, anytime there is a seed, it's going to, or anything in the planter, it's going to plant it. That's its job, that's its duty, that's what it wants to do. So, how do you keep the planter, fully stocked all the time without having to have it open like this and you just come by, oh, here's another seed, blah, 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 blah. Well, with the ME, you simply just take an export bus. When you click on it, you put it in here, and then rather than single stack, you change it to a whole stack. Now what it'll do is it'll flood this planter with these seeds, which I should have thought of because I'm going to take these out. But whatever you put in this export bus that's connected to it, it will automatically fill as needed, as they're used, all the way up on your planter. Now, got to get all these damn seeds now. So, might be saying, well, what are we going to grow here? Well, we already have all the basic crops, so I'm going to try something here. Go to my ME. Saplings. Let's try spruce, I want to say, or maybe a junglewood. See how that looks. You'll know right away if the trees don't have enough room. Thank you. Because what will end up happening is, with the fertilizer going, well, oh, almost forgot about that. Let's steal some fertilizer from here. Okay. Let's take a step back, deep breath, and talk about the fertilizer real quick. The fertilizer, with your ME system hooked up, in the export bus, just like you do with the seeds, you would put a fertilizer, and there's a special option here. Rather than move stack, the problem with that is it only looks in your ME to see if you already have the item. There's another option, which is move stack, single stack / craft. Now, if you have the system set up correctly, what it'll actually do is it will go through saying, hey, I need this fertilizer, is there any? No. Okay, then can you please make me some? And then it'll bring it down. The next option is always craft. Now what that'll do is it will totally ignore what you have in there. You can have like 10,000 fertilizer and then it'll be like, make me some fertilizer and send it my way. So your best option for this in particular is to do single stack craft. Now I think this one might be still chugging away. No. I'll steal some out of here and you can see it refill. And there you go. Now, the reason I put switches on top of these things is because when they're active, they're going to constantly be spawning in trees or whatever the heck you want to grow. So I have this passive switch because the way I want it to be is if these trees are planted and sitting there, I want them to be able to grow up naturally by just their natural timers, and the harvester be able to pick them off. So rather than putting the switches on the harvesters, I put the switches on the fertilizer. Same with these things here. If they, for some reason, decide they finally want to grow up and ripen over a long period of time because I have no water nearby, the harvester automatically harvests them and put them into my ME, which is a passive farm, but it's still fairly good. Now, with the fertilizer thing explained and set up, my fertilizer should be, it's getting close to being filled, so I'll throw these in before it fills out. Okay, so right now you can tell it's off because idle isn't moving, so we'll turn this on. And then what tree do we want to try? Let's try the spruce tree first, see if there's enough room. Now if there's not enough room for a certain tree to grow in the setup you have, which it barely clears, wow, that's close, it will not grow. Now the problem with this is the spruce tree takes up so much space left and right and forward and back that the only place it can possibly grow is pretty much dead dang center of where I have this set up. See, chop down one, puts down another one. So this growing facility, I guess I call it, this growing device is going to be extremely inefficient here. So my best bet would probably be to set up a spruce here. Yeah, this will probably be the best place for a spruce, because then I could probably put 4 of them in if I set up a configuration like that. Now let's go ahead and shut this off. Oh, it shut itself off. Let's check the jungle tree and see how well that works. Oh, come on, I know you. There it is. Now, I know with jungle trees, yep, that's exactly right. With the harvester, there's a special rule, which is junglewood no. The reason they do that is because the 2x2 junglewood trees can be super massive, and these harvesters can only go up so many blocks. So you actually turn this on. And let's see if it clears the tree. And it does clear the tree. Alright, so that's not bad. Let's throw a few more in just to make sure that we don't get a bug in our system. It looks like the junglewood trees, however, their canopy, I could get one closer. So yeah, I could put 4 junglewood trees here. Let's set it up like we did our rubberwood. And in fact, because they don't have really low canopies, I think we might be able to get away with this. Let's see. See, now the jungle tree will only grow until it hits a canopy, so it's efficient-ish. I don't want to say it's truly efficient, because it's so-so. Alright, so that would be the jungle wood tree spawner. Oh, I almost wish it kind of grows cocoa at the same time, but that's another little thing I'll have to show you later. So, wow, that's a lot of seeds. Let's close this back up. We're happy with it, but first, on our bus, we want to move a whole stack, and we say, this is going to be our jungle wood. That's all it's going to grow is jungle wood, and it beat me to it. So, then we say goodbye to the planter. We're never going to see you again. Hopefully. Alright, so let's crank that on. Bam. Give it a little test run after it's all nice and buttoned up to see how it works. In theory, the way I have this set up, I have UU feeding into bones, feeding into all this other stuff, and I have a crap ton of scrap saved up, so I could essentially leave this on for a couple of hours easily and just let it farm the living daylights out of the jungle wood, or if I wanted to, the rubber trees or stuff like that. I just don't like that because it all these things running at the same time kind of would either eat up frame rates or flood my system. Well, that's what I'm really worried about, is flooding the system. So, with the jungle wood, and the rubber trees, I think there's two other trees I can do, which would be oak, birch, and spruce. No, that's spruce. Yeah, and spruce. The ME I currently have, however, I programmed to use jungle wood for crafting everything. And here are my crafting recipes, just to give you a quick little glimpse of them. But the whole system itself is set up off jungle wood, so I think I'm going just to stick with the jungle wood growers and install two more. So you've been asking yourself, how does my facility maintain power? The main power source that I have is this passive geothermal power. Now, you might be wondering, well, wait a minute, you showed us a really cool lava looping system with these magmatic engines that give you infinite power. Now, while I would be using that normally, this geothermal system is on demand, meaning these are all full of lava. These are ready to go. You cannot loop with these because they consume lava and put out EU, and by the time you convert that EU back into MJ, it's not enough MJ to power up the machines needed to create the lava. So, in essence, this is a one-way trip. So, where do I get all this lava from? Or, essentially, how do I get this lava for those engines? That's a pretty cool trick. What I have up here is my storage facility. As you can tell, I probably need to pump some more. But what I do is I have this liquid tesseract, and here I'll pop the... Where are you? Dirty little... There you are! What I have here is the liquid tesseract that flows throughout all these pipes, and this is connected up to my nether pump. Now, right now, I don't have there's no one standing near my nether pumps, so they're not going to be pumping. Let's button this back up. Try not to leave any holes. Try to put the floor back to what it was. And someone got killed by a battle axe. Okay, so this is connected to the nether, fills these tanks. These tanks, as you can see at the top there, pump out into another liquid tesseract, which teleports it down here into these geothermal generators. Now, that EU goes back up through a line, and this is the main line. Well, actually, I don't remember which side it's on. One of those is the main line for the whole facility that's hidden in the walls, in the floor, pretty much anywhere. Like in the floor, I think it's right here. Ooh, close, very close. Then that means it's on this side. Something like that. But underneath the floor, throughout this whole facility, which I'm punching holes in the floor now, there are these lines I have set up that essentially will power it from just the geothermal. Now, the good thing about the geothermal is it's on demand, meaning there it is. You can see the line right there. You can see the line over here, which means it will only click on when these machines are asking for the power. So it will consume less lava in the long run than my infinite lava loop, because the infinite lava loop will always be consuming lava even if you're not using energy or not, which kind of, it really bothered me. It really did. Also, the geothermal energy will put out more energy overall for each space, each square, each engine, I guess you could put it. When you convert it down to MJ or EU, it doesn't really matter. The energy units that come out, the geothermal is more efficient size-wise, but less efficient lava-wise. So enough about that long, confusing little spew about energy. That is where I get it for this whole facility. These machines that use the planters, which is down here, the harvester and the fertilizer, can accept both types of energy. That's what makes them amazing. I mean, you should be sitting down and bowing down to them and worshiping them. And I heard a zombie. Anyway, you should be bowing down to them, worshiping them, and be like, oh yeah, so cool. Now, this geothermal energy source I have set up, as you can see there's only a few of them running, is a maximum. I clocked it at over 3.5k EU. Now, well, how did I do that? It's fairly easy. I got a little tester, tested it, and because this is a direct line, there's no MFSUs or anything in between my mass fabricator and the actual geo. The mass fabricator, when I turn it on, you can see it's going crazy mad, will pull as much EU as it possibly can because it's a direct line. And then so if you come back in here, you can see all of the generators are running. And if I let this run for a little bit too long, it will bleed out my system completely of lava. I do have a secondary backup energy thing I could click on in case I accidentally leave it on and I completely run out of lava. So you can see how fast that mass fabricator is going. If I ever need UU, I just click it on and just go AFK for a little bit and let it do its thing. Let's put my helmet back on here. It's kind of creepy in here without it. And let's fix these floors.